And every single project that I have worked on in Baltimore to preserve um, the legacy, the great legacy of jazz that Baltimore has, has been a difficult one and has been one with ups and downs. Some people think one way, some people think the other. Um, the local, um, uh, the local, what would you call them? I guess organizations that are like community organizations have great power in Baltimore, and sometimes they make decisions that are not sort of in favor, don't go along with what the general public believes, but what they think is best, the best thing to do for their community. And sometimes when they are approached and given the other side of the facts, occasionally they change. Most of the time they stick to
Dig in,
whatever
yeah,
was
yeah.
their
Well,
original
because
belief.
they've
Yeah,
gone through a process, and then you come in
right.
at the 11th hour out of nowhere,
Yeah.
so it's hard.
So, and this has been it has been a pattern for for most of the um, people that have made sort of international have been noted internationally, which in turn has brought attention to Baltimore and to the city. Um, had the problem with the Billie Holiday statue, had problems with the UB Blake Center, had problems with uh, the things that they were trying to do over in East Baltimore
Chick
for
Webb,
for Chick Webb, and of course there's Avon Long
Andre Shields.
Andre and other great people that have come out of Baltimore, and most cities like um, Basin Street and places in Kansas and honoring the Negro League and things of that. Most cities sort of grab that because it's already done. It's
Mm-hmm.
the thing has already been acclaimed.
The brand is established.
Brand is established, so that they grab.
Sorry, sorry. In fact, yeah, they just grab hold. Let me switch seats. Is that all right?
Okay.
It's better for you to be in front of the camera. So yes. So other cities like I think Pittsburgh. I think even myself, growing up in Washington, I was always so proud that Duke Ellington and Marvin Gaye were from Washington. And whenever I found out somebody else was from Washington, I was like, oh yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So I think it's somehow or other it has been difficult for Baltimore um, to grasp this and to establish something and to um, maintain it. Sort of keep it going.
yeah,
Uh, when you think about Pennsylvania Avenue in 1968 when it was sort of demolished and in very very bad shape, it just took them forever. Washington was already up and going with 7th Street and clubs and opening up new businesses and redoing their sort of black district. But but Baltimore has has always been sort of reluctant to um, to sort of reestablish Pennsylvania Avenue, to recognize Billie Holiday, to kind of claim its many masterful persons in the world of music that they produced. And I mean, Douglas High School has some things up there, but there should be something like some big monument or something at Douglas High School, because most of these people receive their early training there, at least the singers and some of the musicians. And but you would never, you just wouldn't know that riding past Douglas High School. So and in some places like Louisiana, when you go in on the train station, or by plane, by whatever, they let you know that this is a city that jazz was born. This is where Louis Armstrong came from. We have Preservation Hall. They begin to, when you enter into the city, you get the feeling of both the history and what's going on presently. But I don't know that it's been because of money, or it's been because I think of the general prejudice and segregation that pervaded Baltimore, and certain private people in the private sector were very dominant in making decisions about what will be and what won't be. And even if the mayors had some particular interest in doing something, they were reluctant to do anything with just public funds. And so they would go to these private institutions, and if the private institutions sort of turned a deaf ear or didn't want it to be, then the city didn't want to be bothered. It's a
Yeah, and it's this large, dynamic with Baltimore and Annapolis and the county, and it's really kind of a gridlock. It's hard to get things turned over like with other cities that should be comparable, like Atlanta or Pittsburgh, etc.